All right, Pot of Gold, welcome back. Great job, Grant, on the transition. Crushed it as usual. I'm Brett. I'm here
Who's it
with
gonna
Mike.
be?
Grant, the intern, running the board behind the glass, trying to figure out who's going to be first in the live chat. Set that notification bell, smash that like button, all that nonsense. Mike, how we feeling?
We're feeling okay. Everything's gonna be okay. I think we're right where I thought we were gonna be. A little disappointed we left some points out there. I thought we were gonna cover that spread. Probably should have if we would have woken up in the first half on defense, but
Respect to Brian Kelly for like whipping it around with like 90 seconds left in the game to try to maybe sneak a cover in there. Like
yeah, he was moving the football.
It's about as much as I've respected a move that he's pulled ever is when he's like, we're just going for this real quick, boys.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a guaranteed that we would come out and really fix everything that we've seen, like as far as issues wise, offensively, right? We know defensively there's going to be issues. We'll get into that in a second, but as far as the offense goes, we've seen so many inconsistencies. We've seen some flashes of elite plays, but yet we can't move the football on the ground, right? Or are we going to get Caden Durham involved more, et cetera, et cetera? So
the answer is no.
Well, yeah, not yet, apparently, but yet like I guess
90%
scoring a touchdown the second he touches the ball, it's like, okay, maybe we need to keep doing this.
Like 90% of the game, it's like we got a one horse and his name is Josh Williams, and then it's like one possession. They're like, okay, we got to get 8 touches for Caleb Jackson, so let's just fire him off back to back.
It was nice to see Caleb get a little more action and get a little better rhythm, right? And he's seeing the field a little bit better this week,
like
right?
3 hours after kickoff.
Yeah, he's your second half Alfred Blue. Defense is worn down. Let's fucking unleash the beast. But
which, like, if we want to do the Josh Williams and Durham in the first half, like, and we're gonna save this absolute bruiser for when you're tired.
Yeah, don't put Josh back in.
But like, yeah, it's just it's maybe it's just I hear you in my head watching these.
Yeah,
games,
I'm a big anti-Josh.
Anytime the huddle's broken, I'm like, this motherfucker better not be this motherfucker. Yeah, I'm like,
I hate that for you, man. And then, I hate that for you because it's a miserable place to be. It's not good.
So bad. I hate myself. I hate myself.
It's like people that are really pissed off, like when Trump was president, and they're just like, he's not my president. Like, that's me. I'm like, that's not my running back. Like,
watching
get him out of there. He's not going anywhere.
Watching every press conference, being like, "That motherfucker, he's lying," and like fact checking that. Yeah,
I'm like, look, I'm in that good guy, nice guy, but not my running back. So,
but then of course he gets rewarded, and like he's gonna play the
he's not going anywhere. I understand.
Yeah, it's like he unfortunately made the most of his carries.
What I'm saying is there was enough there was enough to feed us to be entertained against UCLA, where it's like, ooh, there he is. There's Caden Durham. And of course he fucking takes it for the one bust, like boom touchdown. Oh, we talked about fucking Xavier Thomas getting in the backfield. First drive of the game, he scores a touchdown from the backfield. We talked about Aaron Anderson being the go-to on third down. Boom. We saw that all game against UCLA. So like you saw changes on offense and you saw a little bit better of a product. Defensively, we are who we are. I think this is a very low ceiling for what this group can get to personnel-wise. We have limitations. So you're going to have those chunk plays every now and then. They are getting better at kind of decreasing that. But I think this is all, our season is very much dependent, not on the defense improving. It's going to be more about, can this offense stay consistent and start humming? And I think we did just enough against UCLA to get everybody kind of back engaged and thinking, okay, this Ole Miss game, like, let's take care of business against South Alabama. And of course, they're great. They're incredible.
I'm terrified that we're not going to be able to stop
everybody's hyping up South Al because it's going to be a tighter game than we think. And then
South in your mouth.
And then we go into Ole Miss and we figure out who the hell we are and really the outcome of the season. in a couple weeks. So
yeah, look, we were talking before we started it up. It's like this offense is, or the defense is what it is. Like, I think they're going to be able to get off the field once or twice a game. They're going to hold you to a field goal once or twice a game, and they're liable to knock a ball loose or get an interception. It seems like we kind of have a knack for jarring the ball loose or getting a ball popped up in the air. And then they're going to give up some big plays and give up scores. But it's like, I also think our offense is good enough that we should be able to keep up in games that maybe the defense can't hold their weight. We're talented enough to be in every game we play, and we're not good enough to ever actually like put anyone away. Like, every game's going to be close.
Yeah, we're a bunch of buffoons, man. Like at any given time, we could just look like the dumbest fucking team.
Yeah, I would think we're going to go on the road and beat A&M, but I can almost guarantee you that that game's going to be in doubt in the fourth quarter. It's not going to be, 35-10, like, let's hang the banner and kneel this one out for 16 minutes. So strap in, enjoy the ride. I think we're getting there.
Can we listen, guys, we love the chat and how you guys are having your own side conversation about where you can get certain Bud Lights, but can we keep it on topic? Like, we're talking about the team here. Let's keep it on topic, Corey.
We're not a Bud Light podcast.
We are strictly a Pabst Blue Ribbon podcast.
Yeah, or Natty Light.
Wild week, and no, I take that back. That's just something I have said for 8 years now, I guess. Not really a wild week. I think this week coming up is going to be your first wild week. And so I'm looking forward to towards the end of the pod as we discuss next week. But this past week was interesting in a sense that, well, no, it really wasn't that interesting. There really wasn't much that happened over this past week. I mean, it really was all the focus, in my opinion, for me as an LSU. You bet, boss.
Yeah.
Thanks. As an LSU viewer, was really just to see, have we improved or not? And do we have a chance to even be enthused about going into the game against Ole Miss in a couple weeks? And I think we're right on pace with the expectations of this team. Nussmeier is lighting it up, man. Like, Nuss is really playing good ball right now.
Look, Jaden threw an incredible deep ball. Joe Burrow obviously threw incredible balls. Nuss is up there with like the arm. Like, he makes some nasty throws every week. He's so good at like off platform, but he's still super accurate. He throws with dudes' hands in his face all the time. That ball to who was it? 12. Kylan Jackson, Parker. Kyle Parker. I knew it wasn't Jackson.
Kylan Jackson's a safety, 23, but
was as good of a ball as that's ever been thrown in Tiger Stadium. Like an absolute fucking dime. Great.
And that dive by Kyle Parker was, I don't know, it defied physics.
It was, but he just makes really good throws. I thought his
seam ball is really nice. The one where he throws on like third down now, right there on the seam, holding the safety, holding the corner. It's really nice.
At some point, us throwing to the widest side of the field on like a 4-yard curl is going to fuck us. Like, without a doubt, that's going to bone us at some point. But no, I mean, Nuss is better than I thought he was going to be. I thought it was going to be the highs and the lows of like every drive. We're just like, oh my God, this dude's the best, or like, get this dude off the field. And he's just been really like super solid and consistent at a high level.
So you think he gets drafted?
I would assume this is the only year we see Nussmeier. Yeah, I mean, is there a chance?
That conversation started up. I started hearing that chatter a little bit louder after UCLA, and not just from us, like from Baton Rouge. Like, the CBS pundits having their On 3 shows and etc. They're starting to hype up Nussmeier. So don't ask me about Nussmeier. How about Brian Kelly going off about
Mason
don't talk to me about Mason Taylor.
I don't want to talk about him.
I really think I'm just going to go into the archives and see if he was always this like sarcastic and like with Notre Dame, because I feel like it just wasn't that way.
Maybe this is what people were saying when they're like, "No, he's a fucking asshole." And it's like, he's just a good coach. Like, you guys don't understand.
They're like,
But
no,
he's
like,
not a good coach. We hate him.
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, maybe this is what they're
he's
talking
a
about.
dick, and
He just like literally just fucks with you the whole time.
I think the sun got to him for that presser. I mean, the whole game he was just on edge. It seemed like
He was on edge the whole game.
he was chewing out Kyle Parker after either that, but then he joked on his presser and said, "I was telling him you got to get better dance moves or whatever." But I don't know if you noticed when he scored the touchdown, he came to the sideline. Coach was like in his ass.
For a half a second, I forgot that he's not one of those players coaches, and I was like, "Wow, this is like an odd way of." Like really fucking pumping him up and getting it, and it's like, oh no, wait a minute, Brian Kelly's pissed at something.
Yeah,
like something. He's
yesterday. He's like, yeah, we got to
work
on his dance moves. I can dance better than that.
I would just love to be a fly on the face mask and just fucking really see like what that interaction's like. Like, don't you you just scored your first fucking touchdown. Like, what is the explanation there for just fucking getting in his ass?
He probably like fucked up the play before. Like, we could probably go find him. I guarantee you he missed a block assignment or something, and it was like, I'm not letting this dude get a big head. Like, we strive for perfection. It was probably something like that. But at one point, I think Nuss called a timeout and came over, and they go to Brian Kelly, and he just goes, "Run the fucking play."
Yeah, he was killing Nuss, and he's like, "Game ball." Like,
I love that he
flips around.
He's in Nuss's ass. And like, I remember that from back in the Cincinnati days of like people being like, "Oh, I would never let my son play for this asshole." And it's like, he's still there. Like, it's there.
Yeah, you gotta be perfect or you're gonna be treated like shit.
I really wish college coaches didn't feel the need to match the sunglass tint with the fucking color of your university. Like, it drives me nuts that Brian Kelly's got purple sunglasses and like Sark's wearing these burnt orange frames. It drives me nuts. Wear some Maui Jims and just be done with it, you fuck.
That was the difference in the game because he came out at a halftime and didn't have them.
Oh yeah. I think he was going off and on. I think he was switcherooski.
He must have broke him.
There is something so classic and so unique about a traditional LSU uniform. But the fan apparel, the fucking logos, like all the shit that is outside of the basic uniform, it's like we hire a fucking 12-year-old to put the shit together. It really drives me crazy that we can't capitalize on like a cool aesthetic coming from the university. And it trickles down into what you're talking about. That is a tentacle of this problem, is fucking wearing purple shaded sunglasses. We can't do that, man.
I'm with you. Like when Sark comes out in the burnt orange, like Nike Maui Jim, like clones,
he's in a world of his own when it comes to like theatrical antics and apparel. But as a university, like, we do this shit. Like, Brian Kelly doesn't want to wear that. Like, somebody had to be like, these are the team issued fucking glasses, fucking, I don't know, Marucci backed it. Who knows?
If you're going to wear sunglasses, they have to be these.
Right. It's like, dude, just Brian Kelly out there with just a basic fucking tiger on his fucking polo with some classic black Ray-Bans. Like, get it over with. Like, FBI.
What if he got a deal with like Crew? Wouldn't that make sense?
Then, I mean, they're Crew. Why do they need to look like you just got out of a fucking birthday party at Bippo the Hippo's house?
Yeah, you went into the 3D movie and snuck the glasses back home in your bag.
Yeah, I'm sponsored though, so like, come on.
Last, like, get off my lawn. It drives me nuts that we don't wear those uniforms more. It looks so nice. The purple is just so sharp, and it just drives me nuts. That's like, nope, we're just gonna wear the basic whites like 98% of the time.
Yeah, it's also strange that, or maybe it was the Saints game, long weekend of football, but the different versions of gold that we have at, like, maybe it's the shades of the television or whatever, but like, there's something about, in my opinion, when we wear the purple, it makes that gold kind of pop a little different, and it ties everything together. But yeah, they looked great. I love how everybody was talking shit about UCLA wearing black warm-up shirts, and it's like, guys, we're wearing purple jerseys.
Yeah, I was like mildly, and look, I never really thought LSU was going to lose that game, but it's 17-17. I'm just like, son of a bitch, are we going to have to like make a drive to end this game? And the cameras cut over to a player wringing out like a towel on another dude's back, and I was like, oh, they're cooked, like it's over.
Yeah.
Like,
no, they melted in the second half.
Like, never mind. Literally a snap. It was like right before half, and this dude is like in a chair, looking like he's about to throw up, and another player's like wringing a towel. I was like, oh, it's game over. Like, the humidity has hit them.
Yeah, they stopped making plays. There was no more like career catches. There was no more fucking, all-time record-breaking UCLA fucking stats, whatever.
I thought their defense was so, all the movement, and they only had one penalty, I think, on all the movement, and it was because the guy actually barked at us and got us to jump. All the shifts and movements and D linemen jumping around in circles and doing backflips.
Yeah, because they know we're undisciplined.
Like, goodness gracious.
Like, they know we're going to fucking screw up.
Your boy number 7 jumps off false start.
But
twice.
But that kind of goes back to the point I tried to make last week of like, UCLA is so bad that they should be trying that shit. Like, any 5 yards is a huge like win for them. Whereas like LSU, you would think like we wouldn't need the gimmicky shit to try to like, oh man, if we can get this, like it puts us in position. And it's like UCLA should be doing that shit.
Oh, listen, Foster at halftime was just like, this is amazing. Like, we're so close. Like, we're so close in this game. We just have to like make this look good and finish it off. We're not going to win, but like if we can finish off, looking okay here, it's great. Like, this, to these guys, it was their Super Bowl, but they knew once the heat kind of kicked in the second half and they melted, it was like, all right, good game, boys. Let's head out of here. And that's when we finally put everything together. So I don't know.
We can get into Harold Perkins and everything.
Let's talk about the defense
but before that, like we talked about it before, and Grant brought it up. Like, huge shout out to the D line, because the D line was pushing the offensive line of UCLA around all game.
And here's the thing about that: UCLA's offensive line is terrible, and we should be able to do that. In years past, since when our D line has been shitty, we have been shitty against shitty O-lines. Like, we're pushing people around that we should be pushing around. And that is a positive thing to see. I think the D-line as a whole, and with the emphasis on defensive ends, have been phenomenal, right? The D-ends have, Swinson is dominating
a lot of money,
dominating the college game right now from his position.
If he takes his supplements, he had to
slip that in, dude. He's like, why don't you get him up here and ask him?
I'm going to bring him up here. Let
them celebrate. They just won a fucking game.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because it reminded me of that. It's like Brian Kelly fucking cracks me up like way more than I anticipated, because it's stuff.
And
like
I feel
that.
like he'd appreciate you laughing at that press conference.
Yeah. At one point in his life, and he thought about like, should I be an asshole here and pull the Ed Orgeron? Hey, I'm having a press conference.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up. Or am I going to be like, let the boys watch?
Yeah, and then go off on that first.
And then go off on the reporters.
Yeah, like he definitely flips. And like whenever it's one of those nights where it's like he's on these guys, like every question, he's going to fuck with you. And so people stop asking questions.
We need to like win a national championship, and then we can convince Brian Kelly that there should be like a roast of the media with him. And it's like everyone just roast BK, and then he gets up there and he's like,
come on,
Shea Dixon, 5'4", boom, roasted. Just starts like shitting on all these dudes.
Yeah. He would probably take it a step too far. And just like slip something on like Ed Daniels and be like, guys,
Moscona literally came on and was like, he's like, I think all this foolery he does, all the jokes he makes, he's like, I think it's directed at me. He came on this week. He's like,
are you talking about Lawn?
No, Moscona said that this week. He's like, I feel like he does it too on Twitter.
Lon thinks, listen, Lon, God bless him, because I'm a Lon supporter now. But
we're a pro lawn podcast. Get off our lawn.
We are a pro lawn. This dude hustles his ass off, and he just is who he is. Can you imagine his ass in the front row of a Brian Kelly press conference, just with one of his fucking cigarettes dangling from his ear and his little fucking paperboy hat? His fucking, like, dude, and he loves it. He is who he is. But Lon tweeted how he didn't like what Brian Kelly said. He said something like, y'all better be careful about,
y'all can write what you want to write, something like that. Yeah.
Be careful on the narratives that you create about this team early on, because they're going to get better. And it's like, I took that as, he's looking out for the media, just like, hey, don't put yourself in a corner and say this team's terrible, and then in 4 weeks from now we're winning games, right? Like, be careful what you're doing. Lon's like, I just like what he said about me having to be careful. Who is he to tell me? And it's like, guys, Lon, he's talking about Matt Moscona. Like, he's talking about Jordy, right? Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was, but I applaud that. It's like,
no, it's so funny. Me against
world. Yeah.
No, I know. I took that as like, I know you guys have to form narratives. I'm just telling you, I think we're better than it looks. And I don't know. I take that, whatever. Like, it's so easy to be out on Brian Kelly, and I'm just not. If we go get whooped against Ole Miss, like, sure, I'll be pulling my ticket to move up. But this team's going to get better. I think we
get ass clapped by Ole Miss, but then we beat Alabama. I think that's the season we're heading for right now.
I think we'll learn a lot about Ole Miss in 2 weeks when they play middle of the day against South Carolina. I'm interested to see if South Carolina's defensive line in particular, can maybe rough up Dart and, get something happening.
Get him out. Get him out of the game. Let's get
I have no fucking clue. Well, he's third string, but I just have no idea how to look at that Ole Miss game. I think coming into Tiger Stadium at night, I just think it's going to be a close game. I just don't see
there's always a chance. There's always a chance whenever it's a night game in Death Valley, no matter how bad we are, somehow we rise to that occasion when we are bad, right? Again, we've done it a lot against teams like Alabama, right? So that's happened before. This team just feels different in a sense of they're just so predictable. Like, there's something so predictable about it. Like, I can tell you how the game's going to fucking go 2 weeks ahead of time. Can that change? Absolutely. Do we have any idea really who Ole Miss truly is and how elite they are? Not really.
No.
I have an idea, the amount of points they put up. Like, we can't do that on a week-to-week basis. So obviously they have something going for them on that side of the football.
Well, we also don't fucking play Furman and Kent State every week. So
this is true. Listen, I'm just saying, there is a category in that top 10 right now that's kind of in a little bucket of their own, and Ole Miss is tinkering with that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're close to that right now. And so if they are in that top 5-6 range, it's going to be a tough fucking game.
9 out of 9 times. You don't think?
There's nothing I like more than to ride for Lane Kiffin. I just I can't at this point in time. They're just gonna have to prove it to me against a team with the pulse. And maybe that's not LSU. Maybe they're good enough that they can just handle us. And it's let's see what happens against Bama or Georgia or Texas, whoever they end up having to play down the road. Maybe that's the case. But I'm going to be surprised if they walk into Tiger Stadium and just kind of cruise control themselves into a victory.
All I'm going to say is if we do beat Ole Miss, those reporters better watch the fuck out. Brian Kelly's going into that room hot.
Oh, my God. That's going to be an electric press conference.
He'll be carried into that press conference. Michael Burnett will set him down off of his shoulders.
It's going to be the wheelbarrow with the nutsack, just
Were any of y'all born before Barry Bonds was born?
He threw out a statistic about Nuss putting together those drives, right? The 90 drive back to back or something. Is that true? We haven't done that before?
I'm sure.
The 90s, since 1990. or something.
I'm sure Bonnet gave him that little thing in his ear, so it had to be true.
I saw it on Twitter before he said it. I saw someone tweet it, and then when he was on the presser, he said it, and I was like, oh.
Well, anyway.
Harold Perkins out for the season.
Harold Perkins has been playing lazy.
What a weird career. What a weird career this dude's going to end up having at LSU.
Absolute freak show. Comes in as a true freshman and just absolutely takes my breath away. Like, finally, we've got one of our dogs back in the house. You know, he was a New Orleans transplant over to Houston. We actually signed him. He's repping the state. He's, you know, he inherits number 7 eventually. Whenever he fucking started making plays at number 40 as a freshman, we thought, like, this is the guy that should be wearing 7, all these flashes. All of a sudden, we start tinkering around with his position, rightfully so. He looked like he could develop into a sick linebacker, and it didn't happen. And it was almost like the cards were flipped on us. Yeah. And good offenses were like, hey, you guys have no idea what to fucking do with this guy. So we're going to let you guys stay confused. Yeah. And we're going to scheme him out of everything. And he was non-existent. And then by the time he became existent again, all of a sudden his fundamentals are garbage. He's not fucking tackling people. He's not setting the tone. He's not playing free, fast, and physical. He's thinking too much. And when you're playing lackadaisical and guarded, you fucking tear your ACL. That's textbook. And that's what happened. Like, look at how he's approaching all of these tackles. Nothing looks like Killer Instinct, knock their fucking heads off like he did as a freshman. So does it suck? Absolutely. Are we going to take a step back from an athletic perspective and an experience perspective? Absolutely. Is it going to change our game plan and make us less effective? I don't think so. I mean, the tackles that are being missed, maybe they get made. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe you have a young, hungry guy step up like he did when he was a freshman.
And it's a HIPAA violation to talk about this.
I'm not surprised this injury happened. I mean, it's the loafing. He should have been, you know, Harold Loafing Perkins Jr.
I just had the realization a couple days ago that we probably should have just like put this dude at running back and not handed the ball to Josh Williams 250 times in the last 3 years. Like, that's probably what we should have just fucking done.
Apparently on Teams calling people at my work. I don't know how this is happening.
Mike is under attack.
But apparently I am hacked and I'm making Teams calls to people at 9 o'clock at night.
They better answer. They better answer their superior.
Well, they're texting me. They're letting me know. Like, hey, did you need something?
Hey, I'm actually like trying to go to bed.
I don't want to get in trouble.
I'm trying to watch The Voice.
Yeah. Swinson's incredible. That dude coming into LSU as a transfer from Oregon. I didn't know the difference between Braden Swinson and Paris Shand. I thought they were the same person. And then last year, it was like, okay, Swinson's a senior. You know, he's here for his final season. Maybe he makes a little name for himself wearing an LSU uniform. But then he comes back and it's like, oh, he's got another year. And now he's like, is he leading the league in sacks right now? Leading the NCAA in sacks?
He's not. So. He's like second or third.
So he's leading.
So that's practically leading.
The leader has 5.5. He has 5. So
yeah, so he's leading. Who is the leader?
There's 3 people. There's Antoine Powell Ryland from Virginia Tech. We all know him. Van Fillinger from Utah.
All I need to know. So we've got like
Kyle Kennard from South Carolina, one of the South Carolina dogs.
Yeah. Aside from that, same bullshit in the backfield. I don't know.
And look, I don't want to just circle back and just hammer on Josh Williams. Josh Williams made some good runs, fine, whatever. But at one point in that game, I fucking look at the box score and he had 11 carries and Durham and Jackson combined, I think, had 4. And it's just like, we can't do this.
But they just, you know what's crazy is like there was a press conference in the offseason when they talked about like what Frank Wilson does so well now is that we're not just like plugging guys in across the board at running back, like at a random rotation, and that we're actually playing them when the play emphasizes their strengths. It's like, guys, not at all.
Can't be true.
Yeah.
That
Not at
can't
all.
be true.
It looks the same.
There
It's
is literally a script, and it's like Josh, 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 Caden, Josh, Caden touchdown, Josh, Caleb, maybe a Caleb big run, Josh.
Let's
That's it.
let's throw Juwan Johnson in and not get him the ball for one play. Also,
So Josh Williams had 13 carries for 62 yards. You mean to tell me if Durham didn't have, or even Jackson didn't have 13 carries, they wouldn't have had 60 yards, you know? And they each had 6.
You got a plan. I don't know.
There was also like pretty big third down in the game, and Durham's in there in pass protection. So it's like it's not.
Yeah.
I just can't like put some of this shit together, and it's like once again play calling inside the 5, inside the 10 is like so fucking weird. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Every game we go score 30 something points. I'm just like, we should have scored 3 more times.
We're the king of 34, 35, 30.
Kyron Lacey, a little dropsies. Hopefully that was the one game where it's like WTF and we're back to it. And luckily, UCLA.
It's kind of like those plays. That's just who we are. It's just one of those deals where it's like, hey man, like let's fucking put this thing away. Like make the fucking play. But it's like, no, I'm just gonna I don't know, turn up the field too early and not actually secure the catch on my hip with one hand. You know, it's like, dude, just make the fucking play. Make the play. And he did it a couple times and then he knows it. He knows that's on him. It's like, how many fucking times do we have to like talk to our seniors about like, hey man, you know better. Let's improve on that. Let's concentrate.
Let's lock in.
Yeah.
No.
Shout out Aaron Anderson being the most him and Mason Taylor being the most dependable like third down targets. Like
you put a ball anywhere close to them right now, it's getting sucked up.
I thought that this dude was going to be able to do stuff like this last year, and then it didn't happen. I was like, great, another time we get a transfer portal guy, and he's just like doesn't play. And Aaron Anderson has been as good as anyone on that team this year, so pretty cool to see
him
that.
get a carry.
Him and Xavier
creativity
back there they should absolutely be able to carry the football. I don't know. I think this offense is still evolving. I think there's elements that we can build upon. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think we're still seeing like the base level version of what we could eventually be. But it all starts up front.
There's one more skilled guy.
Can I finish?
Well, I was gonna say before we get to the line, the CJ Daniels, if he could keep his feet.
I'm not a fan.
He's smooth. Like at some point, he's gonna have like a breakout spot. He's really smooth. He seems to catch the ball. I got lost where I was gonna go there. Mason Taylor, obviously pretty dependable. Where were we going? Xavier Thomas with a nasty catch on the punt. Like, how nice is it to have a dude that you're just like, this dude's catching everything, and he has that Tyrann Mathieu. Like, I'm not fair catching it. Like, I am not worried about taking the hit. I'm going to try to make.
And we needed a few of those to be secured, and now we're good. Like, I feel like we've washed that little juju off, and we're ready to roll. So if you're a betting man, get in your app and put that we will fumble a punt.
Yeah, no, it's coming. Like, that's definitely in the, and it's like I feel like this dude's like, oh yeah, well, I'm still gonna try to catch it on the bounce the next time. Like, he just feels like he has that killer instinct that you need to be a punt returner. So and it's nice. It's just nice to have that guy.
Speaking of punt returners, God, our punter we still can't really.
Special teams as a whole are just shaky at best. It's like seeing Josh Williams trot out. You know it's going to happen, but you're just like, I don't know, maybe we'll get it right this play. But like with Josh, it's like he's not all of a sudden gonna get fast. It's like oh great, the hole parted. Awesome. We get 4 yards. Like, I don't know.
Is that how we feel about Major Burns?
Major Burns, dude, people were not happy that I tweeted Major Burns was getting number 7. They were not pleased.
Let me just say this. If Major Burns had not been a guest of this podcast, I would be fucking ruthless on Major Burns, dude.
But Major Burns' fucking LSU career is summed up in 47 seconds of football, where he has absolute beautiful coverage, I think on like a wheel route, bats it away, hits us with the seatbelt, and not 12 seconds later does he get absolutely shook on a slant route. It's like if that's not,
his plays are always polar opposites of each other. Always. He either kills somebody on a tackle or bats a ball away and looks excellent, or comes up with an amazing sack behind the line of scrimmage, or looks like an absolute fool. Like, at least he took away the cowboy collar, but like there's some plays where it's like, dude, is this an SEC defense? Like, what is this? And Sage Ryan's in the same boat.
Yeah, 100%.
Sage Ryan's out there just like, I thought this was flag football.
What I was going to ask that I forgot earlier, I haven't gone back and, counted how many people are in the box, etc. But like, do you not find it wildly weird that if the coaches are telling us the truth, that teams are just lining up to stack the box and stop the run against us? Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
Every press conference, Brian Kelly's like, guys, it's just we're taking what they give us. They're giving us passing looks, so we're throwing it. And it's like, who on earth is watching this team every week and being like, if we stop the run, we got a chance? It's like, you don't have to try to stop the run, buddy. You don't really have to. I don't know. It's so weird to me. I feel like I'm being lied to.
It's one of these weeks it's going to hit. It's going to happen where the O-line figures it out, where the running back rotation gets figured out, and it's like, damn, they can't really be slowed down right now. I think that is coming. If they do just escape the box, we'd be able to move. Hugh G says, speaking of guests, what's Jimmy Details up to nowadays?
I saw Jimmy retweet like a Trump like press conference, like talking shit about something. I was like, oh, hey, Jimmy, I haven't thought about Jimmy in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he got really into the 60s and no one ever heard from him again. That's a Sandlot reference.
Those were fun times having Jimmy come over.
They were. He had a lot of good insight on Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, the good old day. Speaking of Leonard Fournette, all the Diddy stuff comes out, and the tweet video of him with like Jay-Z and Diddy, and all I've thought about for fucking 5 days is like, somehow this ties up to Les Miles. Like somehow, some way, like all roads lead back to Lester. And it
get on the plane. Trust me. Go to the party.
Yes, like, I've been connected with these guys for years.
Yeah, that's how we signed him. Les like made a deal with Diddy.
It just the hoe him out.
Hoe him out.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's tied up in some shit.
It wasn't great seeing USC lose to Michigan. That wasn't
not great. They had the victory in hand.
They did. Michigan
just fucking, they know how to run the football.
Yeah, for real. I think, what was it, 32 passing yards, and you still won the game? Like, that defense is impressive. That game was on at the same time as the LSU game, so it's like I flipped over for some commercial breaks, but mostly I just have to lock in on LSU and Twitter when that game's going on. But
for sure.
That Michigan defense is legit. Like, they can get pressure. The corners play. That's like what I would love to have, like that kind of nastiness on the defense again.
No, I watched them. LSU 2011.
I watched them and I'm just like Leo meme. Like, that used to be us. Like, I remember that.
But then somehow Texas just made them look like poo.
I know Texas is legit.
But
Oklahoma,
Quinn's a
wolf.
little bitch, dude.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Texas is gonna. It doesn't matter if you lose a game. Texas is in the playoff with one loss, but it's
Yeah.
like some point Texas is gonna beat Texas and like just look like absolute clowns. And I mean, they're just. I don't know that they're good enough to be completely clean.
Yeah. So Oklahoma, like you mentioned, wow, who's going to be in line for the Jackson Arnold sweepstakes? I feel like he's the next one that's going to bounce.
Did they not fucking push like Dylan Gabriel out?
Yeah, they did for Jackson Arnold.
Is that like hopefully
it's pretty crazy in this world that Oklahoma's offense is just
hopefully
defense is good.
can,
Venables got the defense good. But
yeah, hopefully we
mean,
can time Blake Baker catching a head coaching job with Brent Venables getting fired and bring him on in to be the DC because like I look and people will say Tennessee played conservative because they knew that they had that game, blah blah blah. Oklahoma's defense looked really good against Tennessee when everyone thought Tennessee had the most prolific offense on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Tennessee is a good team, and they have a really good defense, but that Oklahoma offense was very unopportunistic and just like a lack of talent. Like, I don't know. They just look soft.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And they've had injuries on the O-line. Like that was the game. It's Tennessee's defensive line. I felt like completely dominated Oklahoma's offensive line. Shout out Hugh Freeze for just being like, if I had a quarterback, we could win.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huge shout out. Huge shout out. It's like, motherfucker, you're in charge of that. Like, go pay somebody.
We gotta find players that can throw passes. Like he was just like,
and then he's like, plays. I love Sam Pittman and his titties, but I mean, if we played that game a million times, we'd win at 999,000.
Yeah. Oklahoma State drops the ball to a Isaac Wilson-led Utah team. Very interesting game there. Oklahoma State kind of looks fraudish.
That's just who I feel like that's who Oklahoma State's been for the last 10 years. It's like when they're playing someone they're better than, it's like, holy shit. And then they play someone half decent, and it's like, yeah, they're not that good.
I guess I don't understand the Ollie Gordon stuff. Like, this guy was supposed to be the best running back in the country. Yeah. And they don't even run the ball. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like he must not have any type of O-line.
Same thing with like Donovan Edwards. Doesn't he like not get the carries from Michigan?
Yeah, it's a strange thing there, but I mean, somehow they have it worked out.
Madden or NCAA curse.
What else happened this week?
The Missouri.
Yeah, I was so pissed at myself when we were going through games. I scrolled through and I was like, I love Vandy. I need to drop that nugget in before we leave. And then we got sidetracked talking about games, and I completely forgot. And Vandy just put out an all-world performance. Like, poor kicker. That dude has blown 2 games for him in 4 weeks. But
speaking of Mizzou, I don't think it's ever too early to talk about coaching carousel. I think Drink is going to be a guy that's talked about for some of these coaching vacancies that would pop up, like Florida, right? I think Drinkowitz could be a guy that gets circled there. Mac Brown comes out with some controversial takes. I don't know if y'all got caught up on this shit, but he might be out. He might be out pretty quick.
Well, I'm not.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm blanking on who they played. Someone's gonna have to come up with it.
I don't remember
who they played.
Yeah, they lost like 70-50, and apparently in the post game, he like goes in the locker room and was like, "I can't do it anymore, boys."
James Madison.
Yeah, JMU go. Yeah. And I think there was even like a weather delay in that game, but they just went and hung like fucking a million points on them.
Favored by 10, and they lost 70-50.
Yeah,
and allegedly Mac was just like, "Boys, I think it's time to put the old boy to pasture." And then like an hour later, they're like, "He just takes games really hard. Like, he's fine."
Yeah. He's like, "I'm not going anywhere." But it's like
the Biden thing. It's like he just took a nap, and like, he's really better between 2 and 5.
Yeah. No, he's peak performance in the mornings. So North Carolina is going to be open.
But Drinkowitz doesn't. You don't leave.
You don't
Missouri to
take that.
UNC.
I agree. I was just trying to think of any other vacancy that we can talk about right now besides Florida, because I think Drink is going to be a hot name. That's really the point of the conversation. Is that I don't see Drinkowitz at Missouri after this season.
Drinkowitz is I see Drinkowitz as one of those dudes who's like, I'm loyal and we're building it at Mizzou. And then they have like 2.5 years of being shit. And they're like, we got to get this fucker out of here. Like, that's how I see this dude's career. I like him. Like,
but I think he's
done a good job.
I think that's what just happened. Because wasn't he like on the hot seat last year? And it was like, holy shit.
Yeah, he was on the hot seat before last season.
I think I said he was definitely getting fired. Like, if we check the tapes, I'm pretty sure I was like,
everybody was
spearheading that one.
Little squirrel.
It wasn't just you, Brett. Everyone was saying it.
Well, no, but Brett specifically said it on one of the shows. But
he reminds me of like the row the boat guy. I'm not going to come up with his fucking name, but the coach at Minnesota, who it's like was Western Michigan to Minnesota. And it's like, well, this dude's going to be here for 2 years and then he's taking a big job. Yeah. And he was one of those guys like, no, we're building something. It's like, no, you're not, bro. You're like maybe trying to get in the Pop-Tart Bowl. And now like no one would hire him for a real job.
Yeah. So I think Drinkowitz was in that position where he's like, I'm here to build Missouri and I'm not leaving, blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, hey, you need to leave. And then he fucking turned it around. And now he's, obviously top 10 team, really good quarterback, one of the best.
They've been shaky this year, though.
Very, very. I think they're a tad overrated, but I think to this point,
PJ Fleck. Thank you, Gerald.
Fleck, I think to this point, they're validly ranked. I think.
Who was on Missouri?
Like, I'm not saying other people be above them, but like they could very easily have lost to BC and Vandy and be 2-2, and everyone
they still have the residuals of the Blake Baker defense, and they're riding on that for a little while with Luther Burden on the offensive side. So, but I think Drink is going to be one of those guys that I will say this to your point. I think he is one of those casts that's going to be overly vocal about his commitment to Missouri before he takes the other job.
Which he needs to just take another job, catch a fat buyout, because I'm telling Luther Burden and Brady Cook or whatever his name is, they're going to be gone. And they're like, at some point, they're just going to be back to like being Mizzou. And everyone's like, we can do better. Like, we know we can do better. Like that's how I see it.
I'm looking at some of the hot seat names. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say,
not a lot of people have put out. Have you seen anything out there with that?
Yeah, there's a few names. Mac Brown, obviously, Billy, obviously, and Dave Aranda.
Aranda's cooked. That's what I was going to say. Colorado. It's like hate Colorado or love Colorado. They're exciting to watch. You have to keep an eye on every game they play.
Well, I mean. Fucking what's his face? Travis Hunter is legit. I mean, like, that dude is a pro out there playing against children every week. Shador has a great arm. That cat, good luck. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
I'm with you. What I was gonna say is I really want to watch Penn State play someone with a pulse.
Penn State sucks, and they're playing Illinois this week, and they're favored by like 18.
Yeah, it's like Illinois coming off a Nebraska win. It's like they're probably hyped up too much. I can see Penn State easily handling Illinois, and everyone being like, give them the bye. Like I want to see them play a team with the pulse, and really the rest of their schedule is USC and Ohio State. That's it. Like they're probably we have to come to the terms that Penn State is like 80% chance going to be in this playoff.
But I think within that 20, it's not just Ohio State that's going to clap them. I think somebody else is going to take them out.
Washington, Purdue, Minnesota. Their schedule's so bad.
They're not good. And they're going to slip up one of these weeks.
They play night game at home against Illinois. I guess that's why it's 18.5. It's still a ton.
Whiteout atmosphere. Oh, Bert beats fucking Nebraska, who hasn't like won a real game in 4 decades, and all of a sudden he's like talking shit to Penn State fans. Like, I don't even know what a whiteout crowd is. Like, what are you doing?
They play, so they have Illinois at home, then they have UCLA at home. Then they go to USC before they have a bye week.
USC is going to beat the hell.
So this is kind of an interesting stretch for them. I think they lose one of these 3 games.
Yeah,
they could.
But
I guess 3 teams with more of a pulse than West Virginia, Bowling Green, and Kent State.
Now, as much as they're hyped up right now, this is the recipe for old boy to get fired after a good season. Like he's gonna be
9-3,
9-3, maybe 8. No, he's not gonna. He's gonna be 9-3, miss the
finish
playoffs.
14th.
They're gonna be like, we're fucking done. Like the best year they've had.
But like I see this, and look, like today, if LSU and Penn State played, it's like sure, like Penn State has as good a chance as anyone to win that game. I'm not saying that, but like looking at this team and like thinking, well, they're probably going to be in the playoffs, but they're not going to be a top 4 seed. It's like if LSU can somehow fucking sneak into this thing and like start making some plays and turn it around, and you're playing Penn State in the first round, it's like I think we have a chance of getting in the second round. It's like you just have to get in this dance, and then shit can happen.
But then it's tough looking at it and being like, God, we just got to get to 12. It's like no, because you're gonna get fucking UNLV. Or some, don't they have an automatic fucking power? Or
you kind of have to get to 11.
Yeah, 10, you're safe.
But it's just, I don't know, man. There's just there's gonna be, I think, and it may not be this year, but we're gonna see teams that just kind of have such a favorable path that they end up being this 10, 11 seed that kind of just sneaks into the Final Four because they played some. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see it all play out. I'm kind of getting excited for the playoff.
I did get. I hit a good one with the under of South Florida versus Miami by half a point. That was a sweat.
That's how we get it done.
Yeah, I went to bed, and like it was those types of sweats where I'm like, I'm done. These guys are just putting up points left and right, and I woke up and I got it done. But
there is few feelings on this earth like waking up to a winner that you thought was a loser. Like it used to happen.
Is something wrong? Is this a glitch?
It used to happen with the Hawaii all the time, where I bet Hawaii or whoever's playing Hawaii, and it would look terrible. And it's like 145, and you're just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to bed. And you wake up and there's an extra $100 in your account. There's just nothing better.
That's great.
This is why I texted y'all. Are y'all watching this BYU game? Because it was the most insane second quarter, start of the third quarter, where they had like interception, fumble recovery, punt return, all for touchdowns within like 2 seconds.
I has to shove a burrito up his ass.
And I had BYU.
The time zone difference, I wouldn't think gets me, but like it's almost like the peak hours where you guys are diving into like that final like let's hang out mode, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm an hour ahead and I'm crashing.
No, Eastern time zone is a nightmare for sports.
Yeah. It really is.
Central might be elite. Like Mountain Time is nice, but also like it can get a little dicey where it's like I kind of got shit to do today, and like if games
that's where I do appreciate the East is like I can get stuff done in the morning. Like I can have a day, and then it's like, all right, it's almost like the NFL. It's like, all right, noon kickoff.
Yeah,
fine. I got most of my shit done, but like 11 on the flip side's like I could be at the gen and just chill and like roll out of bed and be like, all right, I got an hour or two before the game starts.
Yeah, let's see how big McAfee's belt buckle is today.
Yeah. Let's go over some games for this week.
How's the NFL been on the East Coast? The times, I guess it's probably perfect for NFL. 1 o'clock.
I'm sure like the night games kind of suck because it's like 11 o'clock. And you're like, do I really like
Monday night was probably late last night.
Late games. But it's fine.
Friday we get Virginia Tech at Miami. Virginia Tech's pretty bad. Speaking of like Virginia Tech, like at some point we just have to like come to the collective decision that like media knows fucking nothing, because it's like, oh, Virginia Tech's going to be so good this year, and like, oh, it just thinking about all these preseason. I went through and like found some preseason stuff. It's like Garrett Nussmeier, 11th quarterback in the SEC. It's just like, it's just like, you guys don't know shit.
Well, there's only like a few people, and that's why I only listen to like maybe 2 or 3 people.
You're a big Josh Pate guy, I know.
I used to be. Now he's just he's bought and paid for, dude. Like he put out a tweet today about Alabama, something crazy about their wide receiver. Their best wide receiver was born the same year the last time that Bama, what was it? What was it?
Was an underdog at home.
At home. Yeah. And it's like, thanks, Josh. Like, did your girl give you that one?
Anyway, it's not jammed packed. I think the next week, like October 12th is the showdown date. I guess that's 2 weeks from now.
But there's still no. I thought the same thing.
There's a game or two in every window that's like you need to keep eyes on for sure. Yeah. Kentucky, Ole Miss. I don't know that that's going to be a game, but you got to keep kind of watch it.
It's one of those maybe. Right, like what if, right? It's a what if game. It's going to be on Minnesota, Michigan. I wish Fleck was good, so this would be a fun one. That it's not going to be. Oklahoma State and Kansas State was going to be good until Kansas State and Oklahoma State lost.
But it's going to be a fun game. Like it's going to be a wild, weird things are going to happen.
It's a consequential game, right? Like these are teams that are both. Somebody's going to have 2 losses here, and they're not going to be in the top 25. And we've been talking about these 2 teams as like that second tier, third tier, and now they're going to be their season's done after this weekend coming up. So that's going to be interesting.
Nice little morning teaser. It's not nothing too crazy. It's it's not Dabo putting up 1,000 points on NC State.
I thought he was going to go in dirty on Aranda, but I think Baylor's favored.
They're favored by 3. That's crazy. That tells you right there.
That tells you that you need to hammer Baylor.
Your eyes, bet Baylor, and don't even know what channel that game's coming on. Just don't.
Yeah, I know about.
It's not on FS1.
I know about 40 seconds of information on both of these teams combined. I'm not going to pretend like I'm smarter than this. Wisconsin, USC. Wisconsin's been underwhelming.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you would think USC is going to look good.
Louisville, Notre Dame's going to be a good game.
You got to keep eyes on this, because this could be a game where it's like Freeman loses the entire fan base. Like there is a lot on the line right now for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and Louisville. Click on their schedule.
Yeah, let's see.
Thanks for listening. Miami.
I mean, nobody.
That's it. Is that the last game?
Oh no, this is their.
Miami and Clemson.
College. They got Bob, dude. Clemson's playing really good football right now. I know they're hard to figure out, but the
ACC is going to eat each other up.
I mean, also, like we can just run back the tape from the Penn State game or Penn State segment. Get your ass ready for Clemson to be in this playoff. Saddle up for that one.
Before you go down that rabbit hole,
be on alert now.
Who did they lose to? Georgia. Oh yeah,
Georgia, like pretty easily.
Okay.
All right, so go back. All right, Louisville, Notre Dame. What's the line there?
6.
I don't know anything about Louisville, but apparently a lot of people like Louisville. I haven't watched them, but they're getting a lot of hype. So that'd be interesting.
That's just a big game. I mean, it's been fun reading everyone be like, look, guys, we have to have a serious conversation about if Marcus Freeman's hit a ceiling. And it just makes me so happy.
That would be funny, because I like Marcus Freeman. I think he's a good coach, and I don't know if Notre Dame's the best spot for him. Whatever, I think it could work out if they give him time. They're not going to give him time. It's going to be interesting to see like who they would go after at Notre Dame. Like I could see them going back to Bob. Like they'd go
Bill O'Brien. Oh
go
my God.
classic fucking Midwestern.
And that's Bill O'Brien does feel like he was made for that job. Maybe probably curses a little too much, but
he
yeah,
couldn't
it's just
recruit. That's the problem. He's not a
But
recruiter.
we're a couple years from Notre Dame doing that, right?
Well,
I mean,
are
no,
we sure?
I think the point of this is like who they
Maybe.
lose to?
You
Fucking
think-
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois, the Salukis.
yeah, but
Notre Dame's
here's the
supposed
thing:
to be like
if Notre
competition
Dame wins
right
out, like let's pull up their schedule. If they win
Well,
out,
just Notre Dame's not winning out.
Never.
They're just
um,
not.
They lost to Northern Illinois.
I mean, but look at their opponent.
Yeah,
I get it.
They really only have USC. This is a
Like,
playoff game.
Like so they could, if they win out, they're in the play. Yeah, this is a playoff game. And then when it gets to, I mean, it's at USC. They're gonna be in. They could be 10-2 and get in the playoff.
Sign
what
me
everyone
up
else
for the
does.
fucking Brian Kelly Bowl in the first round of the playoffs. Sign me up.
Yeah.
But it does make me happy to see all these people who were just like, get ready for Brian Kelly. Like, we could do so much better, to like all of a sudden they get the guy who they think is cool and can recruit and like how great. And they're just like, this fucking sucks.
If some kind of way they finished 8-4, you think he's like out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's for sure. They could give him that vote of confidence, and then
What's
all of a
his
sudden
contract?
next year,
Because Brian Kelly could go 8-4. He's not out this year.
I don't know that Notre
He
Dame
doesn't have a
contracts are
contract like that.
public, but yeah, he's not.
That's
There's
true.
no way he has this huge like sign like
It's
buyout.
his first job.
They didn't. Yeah, it's like I don't know. He didn't have any leverage. It's
It
like, do you
won't
want to
be-
be the coach? It's like, I'll coach for free, guys.
Is Drinkowitz Catholic?
He looks.
Drink
Like,
ain't going to Notre Dame, dude. Drinkowitz
Bringing-
is like, I'm fucking
They're
Bama
gonna-
or bust.
They're gonna go. They're gonna go with
bring
the one
Hugh
and only-
Freeze as his OC.
They're gonna
He's
go with
waiting out
Lane
Kirby.
Kiffin. They're gonna bring Lane Kiffin in.
Kiffin's not at Ole Miss next year. That's for sure. That's
I
for
can't see
sure.
him taking the Florida job.
I can. I don't. I'm not saying that.
Did you
I
hear what
know-
Nick Saban said about it? Like
No.
on game day, he basically said, "I cannot believe what this administration's done to that program." Like he just bashed
Nick
him.
Saban lives in the same like era as us, but like
Yeah, he thinks, but Nick Saban sees what we see. Florida is a gold mine,
right.
but they don't have the right people running the ship. So why would I want to go coach under those people?
because you can.
Because we put all our eggs in a basket at Ole Miss that's going to fucking burn next year, and he wants to.
This is gonna, yes, that is gonna happen too. That is gonna
And
happen.
Kiffin's
too.
stock is never going to be higher. It's at an all-time. He can get any job he wanted to. When it comes open.
But is it Florida? You know, I guess he'll have to wait and see what other jobs open.
But
up.
what would he wait for outside of Florida?
Yeah, right. Bama's taken. Georgia's taken. LSU's taken.
Yeah,
A&M's taken.
A&M's taken.
Ohio
Texas
State's
is
not
taken.
coming up.
Tennessee,
Texas,
Tennessee's taken.
Ohio State's not hiring Kiffin.
like
that.
Florida is going to be by far the best job available, unless
Yeah.
something weird happens. You know, the carousel
going
can
back
always
to
be the
USC.
carousel. Kirby could want to take over the Falcons. You know, you never know.
Mhm.
But no, I
Dabo.
mean, it just
Ooh, Kiffin at Clemson would be interesting. That would be good. Okay.
That would be hilarious. Those polar opposites.
But Oklahoma Auburn's a game you kind of have to watch to see what happens. Like, are
Yeah.
both these
Dude, this
offenses going to
spread,
be
the
that
spread's
bad?
pretty crazy on that one. 2.5.
It's
Yeah,
really
I
hard
just-
to
I
trust
feel
Auburn.
like somebody is like Auburn at some point, but Freeze like very outspokenly tossing his whole team under the bus and then like singling dudes out. It's like I don't know how you can just line them up against OU and think you're gonna beat them.
Right.
Yeah,
know.
OU's team's still intact. Like,
Yeah, and they're gonna want to
their
fucking bounce
coaches.
back. It's a
their
good game
coaches are
for
better.
us to watch in general, just because
Yeah.
you know I know we don't play Auburn this season, which is
That's so weird.
bizarre.
That sucks.
But it's good to keep a pulse, and then obviously we finish off with Oklahoma. So I've been tracking them.
Arkansas
Another interesting
A&M.
game. Another
I'm
interesting
assuming,
game.
yeah, this game's
I
at
like-
Jerry's World.
I like Arkansas a lot here,
Of course you do, Mike. We know that.
a lot.
always, I don't know, always a fun game to watch.
It's always a game. I don't know if that's factual or not, but I
It
bet
feels like it.
go
This
back and look at the scores.
2:30 SEC slate's pretty fun.
It's always something happening. Mississippi State is awful. Texas is going to destroy. It is what it is. Would be awesome if it wasn't the case. Would be crazy if it was like, holy shit, Mississippi State showed up and actually gave Texas a little test. That's just way too many points, though. There's no way.
You might need to scroll down, but I think you have to take Stanford in this 3.5 or 3 touchdown game. Like that seems like a lot of points.
Stanford.
I can't even come up with who they played last week. They actually looked pretty decent. I watched they played Syracuse. They
just put up like
They played Syracuse.
Yeah, I think NC State is just like incredibly bad.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. And that media was off on that. NC State came in hot as like
that was another one. Yeah. Oh, look out. Look out. They might win it. So they're terrible. And then
Iowa State, Houston, both those teams ass.
Can LSU please just have one game where we go in and fucking bully South Alabama so we can sit back and enjoy Georgia, Alabama? Like, it's going to drive me fucking nuts when we're in the third quarter of like a 3-point ball game and we're missing Georgia, Alabama go fucking shot for shot over here because we're locked in.
I wish with the quad box you could adjust the size of the squares.
Yeah,
like this screen we're on right now.
Yeah, because they're too small.
I think you can do that on the ESPN app, just a FYI. But it's so hard. Like if LSU's in a dogfight, I'm just not going to be able to like lock in and see what's going on as much in this Georgia game. Like it's just going to be firing off tweets of like why we shouldn't fire Brian Kelly at halftime, and it's just like I just want us to go be up 21 before anyone can blink, and we can be like,
I understand. I want that, and that's what sucks is like. But I also really like watching those games when the young guys get in, and it's like, oh, nice.
Right.
Like I remember the first time we saw fucking, so and so pop.
Trey Green.
Yeah, and it's like it's a very impressionable moments, even though it's against a team that sucks. But like I went that in a small corner. And the big game is like up there, and it's like, oh, I can flip over to that and watch that and pause it and go back. You know what I'm saying? But like right now, it's almost like too much information all at once, and I miss things.
Yeah.
Illinois.
Shout out.
So let's talk about Georgia Bama for a second.
Yeah. I was just going to say real quick, shout out to Kirk Herbstreit and Restate. I think it was actually Fowler who was like, Oklahoma's growing this grass to slow Tennessee down. Like that's what I love about college football. More of that.
It's the best sport. Georgia, Alabama. This will be a great game. I think this is going to be a really, really good game. And I think both of these teams can score points. I don't think this is just going to be a defensive slugfest. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Georgia comes away unscathed.
I do too. It's like I've said it a million times. It's just like Alabama just doesn't get that Nick Saban benefit of the doubt for me anymore. Could they beat Georgia? Absolutely. I'll take Georgia, and you prove me wrong.
Yeah. Illinois, Penn State again. That's an egregious amount of points. Illinois looked decent. Penn State, in my opinion, after watching them every game so far this season, I'm way out on Penn State. I still don't know how they're in the top 10. But if you look at this, it's almost as if anytime you get these guaranteed, like, well, of course I'm taking fucking Illinois plus 18.5. Like, that's insane. It's usually that means Penn State's going to win by like 50.
1,000. And everyone's going to be like, we knew it. Drew Aller, Heisman. And then they're going to lose they're just going to lose.
And Illinois is never going to win another game.
Big Bird.
How about that? How about that Nebraska overtime where it was like 3rd and 42?
Dude,
that was insane.
I went back and watched that game. Fucking Dylan Raiola, man. Like, he's got flashes. He's going to be a good quarterback. But he got a little too cute.
Yep.
When the lights were on.
There were so many times they could have won that game, and they just didn't. Had no want for victory.
Yeah. And listen, I love that guy. Fuck, what's his name?
Matt Rule.
I'm a Rule guy.
Always been a big Rule guy.
Always been a big Rule guy. I think he's great. I think he's great for the game.
He is a college coach. He's not an NFL coach. I think Nebraska is like literally the perfect spot for that dude.
Imagine being Brady and going from fucking LSU, going to the NFL and be like, I'm gonna fucking be the OC at the NFL now. Finally got this dream. You coach for Matt Rule, and you're just like, damn, dude, I went from fucking Ed to Matt Rule up here. Like, when am I gonna get back with the fucking Sean Paytons of the world? Which he is.
Do not be surprised if that dude all of a sudden snags a head coaching job in 3 months.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
like, if Cincinnati keeps losing, you're telling me that they're not going to go to their billion-dollar quarterback and be like, hey, is this guy like legit?
Yeah, 100%. He'll be a head coach very soon. The networks don't fucking hone in on OCs in the booth for fucking 10 minutes of coverage without knowing that eventually they're going to be talking about these guys a lot more.
It does suck that we don't really catch a nightcap. The only nightcap we get is Oregon probably scoring a bajillion points and holding UCLA to like a field goal.
True.
Like, that's how we're gonna have to end our night after we barely squeak victory out against South Alabama. Is watch Oregon win 63 to fucking 10. That's how.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's
Alabama hasn't lost a step. They're fucking doing the light show, Rammer Jammer, on SVP, and we gotta also watch UCLA, who bullied us for fucking 30 minutes, just get destroyed by a team we said's not.
South Alabama's running back shoots up the Heisman board.
Right, like 320. The last time someone put up that many yards in Tiger Stadium, Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Fluff Bothwell?
Yeah.
Fluff Bothwell.
Talking about Fluff Bothwell? Or Gio Lopez, the quarterback.
It's funny, like,
or the backup, Bishop Davenport. They got an all name.
Can I finish?
I legitimately believe LSU is going to beat Ole Miss, and I'm just fucking terrified that we're not going to be able to stop South Alabama. It's like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But it's like,
we'll find a way.
I don't think we need to like circle back and fucking talk about like the hot stadium, but like the problem with this game is it's going to be fucking halftime. It's going to be 8:45 and 45% of the stadium is going to be gone, and we're going to be in a fucking dogfight, and like, good luck. That's the problem. Ole Miss, there's going to be a packed crowd for probably the whole game, electric atmosphere. It's like, I feel confident there. But when there's 52,000 people left in the stadium and it's 24-20 in the third quarter, shoot me.
Yeah. Well, at least we have the light show.
Got to keep them in the stands somehow, Mike. But of course, we get clowned on Twitter. It's like, oh, I didn't realize it wasn't hot anywhere else, pussy. It's just like,
it's people don't.
Mike, you remember the Auburn game, right?
Dude, I know.
I've
been in those fucking stadiums, and it's
I
don't blame anybody for being like, you know what, I'm gonna go watch it in the fucking shade right behind me on the television.
You know what we didn't do though, Mike, that day, Auburn 2017? We didn't bitch out and leave.
Well, no,
we thought about it. We were close.
Yeah, but have you ever heard of a little thing called fucking global warming, Grant?
Yeah.
No, we were. What I'm saying is, we were very close to walking out because not only was it 870,000 degrees, we
ran the ball every play. It was fucking like Matt Canada, just like misdirections. But we got to witness the DJ Chark punt return, and it was worth the heat, right?
It was worth it.
But also, I get it, man. I get it. I get that it's just a bad scene. Like, what are we doing where we can be very conscientious about weather conditions and player safety and this, that, and the other, but like, it's fucking mid to late September and we've got record heat on the ground, like coming out of the mats on the turf. It's like, maybe at some point we realize it's a little different down here, and 2:30 games, like, hey, maybe we don't get a primetime spot, but we're going to play it at night and have a party. you know.
But we have fucking 19 ESPN, ABCs, SEC Network, The Deuce, like we could put this game on so many channels that like we should really just be able to say like, nah, we just play games at 6 or 8. Like that's it.
If Ryan Clark gave a shit about us, he'd say something about it.
Like we should just never, with the amount of channels, it's like CBS. I get it. You guys pay a shit ton of money and you have your one time slot, which does piss me off that somehow I'm fucking watching a CBS primetime game. It feels like every week now. But like I can understand it. It's like you guys paid for this, like you put your game in your time slot. I'll bitch and moan, but I get it. With ESPN, it's like fucking play a Big 12 game at 2:30 and stack up your night. I don't care. Like we should be able to kind of decide when we play.
I agree. I don't disagree.
I don't disagree. You're not arguing with me.
All right, I think we're done.
We got so many, but I think we lost so many games. I don't think we should do picks. Like I think we should abstain this week because of how bad.
I don't reach 2 and 3. I think we should follow it up next week with the better slate.
Yeah, I agree. I thought we were worst. You said everyone was 2 and 3.
We were all 2 and 3.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining.